Sorry for interrupting the intro to this video, but I've just finished editing it now, and I wanted just to really stress that if you want to improve your off-camera flash photography, then I really feel as though what I show you in this particular video is going to be massively useful to you. So, on with the video.
Hi everyone, I hope you're well and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the importance of using modifiers such as these when it comes to off-camera flash photography and why it is absolutely essential that we use them to control the spill of the light that comes out of our speed lights. And I'm going to demonstrate this by using this X on the wall and show you why it is virtually impossible to control the spill of the light that comes out of the speed light if we don't use modifiers. So, let's crack on.
So before I demonstrate to you exactly how much of a difference using modifiers makes to controlling the spill of the light, and I think you're going to be really surprised when you see just how much of a difference these little things do make, I want to talk to you about why controlling the light is so important. Because the simple fact is, to take a good off-camera flash photograph, especially indoors, it's essential that we control the spill of the light from our speed lights, and that it is virtually impossible to do that if we don't use modifiers. So in a nutshell, modifiers are often the difference between a good off-camera flash photograph and, well, a bad one. So why do we need to control the light? Well, the basic process of most off-camera flash photographs is that we are firstly exposing our cameras for the highlights in the composition. In other words, we're exposing for the brightest part of the photograph. So if we're outside, that is often the sun, or if we're indoors, it could be a lamp, ceiling lights, candles, basically anything that is bright. And when we expose for those bright highlights, the rest of the photograph will become underexposed. Now for a wedding photograph, we would then place our bride and groom in one of those dark areas and light them with a flash. But, and this is the really important bit, when we light the bride and groom with our speed light, we don't want the light to be hitting all over the frame. We want to make sure that the light is only hitting the bride and groom. So we want to limit the spill of the light which comes out of the speed light, and that is the key thing. So here's an example of a photograph where I've gone through that exact process. It was just taken in the corridor of a hotel, but I really liked the lights that were on the wall. So I exposed for those lights, which meant that everything else in the frame went very dark, and then I lit the bride and groom from behind with a speed light, and this was the result. But the really important thing, and the reason that I feel as though this photograph works, is because thanks to the fact that I had a snoot on the speed light behind the bride and groom, the light was only hitting the bride and groom. If it were hitting the door frame and going outside of the bride and groom, it would just look a bit, well, messy and rubbish. You'll see how amazing a snoot is at controlling the light in a couple of minutes. Here's another example. This is from a busy wedding reception area with tables and chairs everywhere, but I love the lights from the table centerpieces. So I exposed for those lights, and then because the rest of the frame again went very underexposed, suddenly you couldn't see the tables and chairs anymore. And I then lit the bride and groom with a speed light with 2 grids attached, and this was the result. Now the important thing again is that the light from the speed light is only hitting the bride and groom, not the tables and chairs, and that is why using modifiers is essential, especially for wedding photographs. In this photograph, I used a grid to limit the light to only hitting the wedding dress, and in this photograph, I used a grid so that the light was again only hitting the bride and not hitting the curtains. And in this example, I used a grid to make sure that the light only hit the bride and groom from the waist up. So I hope these examples help you to see why controlling the spill of the light that is coming from our speed lights is essential for good off-camera flash wedding photography. And so to demonstrate just how much of a difference these little guys make, I'm now going to pass you over to me.
So I'm now going to show you why it's absolutely essential that we use modifiers if we want to really control the spill coming from our off-camera speed lights. And I'm going to do that by doing this little exercise here. So I have one off-camera flash set up here, and on the wall here I have an X, and the whole point of this exercise is that I want to light the X without hitting the rest of the wall. So I'm going to do that first of all by seeing what we get with the speed light with no modifier on it, and then I'm going to zoom in the speed light, because if some of the manufacturers are to be believed, then zooming in the flash will do the job for us with no need for modifiers. So let's just see how we go. So for this exercise I've got my Godox V860 speed light on a light stand. It's set to 1/16th power and it's at 24mm for the zoom. So I'm going to just now see what that gives us with no modifier on the speed light at all. I'm on my Sony 16 to 35mm 2.8 lens, so at the moment we're going to get in the whole wall. So let's just see what we get first of all. Okay, so as you can see, basically we've got light spilling all over the wall, which is to be expected really, because we are shooting with the zoom at 24mm. So what I'm now going to do is take the same shot, but this time I'm going to zoom the flash into 200mm in the hope that that just concentrates the light just on the X. So let's see what happens this time. So you can see, well, it's closer, it's more concentrated in, but we've still got lots of spill and ugly light, and we're not even close to just hitting the X at the moment. So that's as good as we could do if we're not using any modifiers on the speed light. So what I'm now going to show you is just what a difference it makes when we add a MagMod Grid to the speed light. So let's just put one grid on for now and see what that does. So I'm not changing any other settings, I'm just literally putting the grid on. So you can already see there that the spill is much nicer and it's much better controlled just by putting the grid on. So what I'm now going to do is see what difference it makes if we put a second grid on, one I have here. So let's put another grid onto that speed light and we'll see now what difference this makes. So again, I'm not changing any other settings, we're still on the 16th power, so let's just see what we get this time. You can see now that we've really sort of closed in that circle of light and we're almost hitting the X. In fact, it may just be that if I can just reposition the speed light slightly, just there. Yeah, so that has got us very close to just hitting the X. And this is why it makes such a difference to use modifiers when you're using off-camera flash, because we're controlling the light now. It's not spilling everywhere and hitting everything else and just making everything just look messy. We're directing that light onto one small area, and this makes the world of difference. Now, just while we're doing this exercise, this isn't really about controlling the spill of the light, but I just want to show you what difference the MagSphere makes, because this is a really nice way of just softening the light that we get from the speed light slightly. So we've still got two grids on. I've now got the sphere on as well, and let's see what difference that makes. Now the sphere does take away, as does using two grids, some of the speed light's power. So it may be that after I take this first shot, I go to an 8th power on the speed light. But we'll just see what happens first of all, without changing anything else. So you can see now, if we go show you that one and the one before, it's just really softened that light and it's made it a much more subtle light, so it's less harsh. So this is why the sphere is really good for portraits. So you can see there, it does make a big difference. It does take away some of the power, but all we need to do there to counteract that is go from a 16th power to an 8th power. We can even then go to a 4th, to a 1/4 power. And you can see we're sort of back where we wanted to be. I'm not going to use the sphere for the rest of this exercise, but I just wanted you to see there just what difference it makes, because there's a belief sometimes that it doesn't have a huge difference when you use it in conjunction with a grid, but as you can see there, it really does have an impact. So with the way that I work when it comes to controlling the spill of the light from a speed light, level 1 is 1 grid, level 2 is 2 grids, but for level 3, I take off the grids and I replace them with a snoot. Now, snoots are excellent at limiting the spill of the light, and you can control how much spill you stop by how far out you extend the snoot. You'll see it goes this far. So when we expand it the whole way out, we can control the light massively and just let a tiny area of light come out of the speed light. And that's a brilliant way of controlling the light. So what I'm going to do first of all is put the grid on without it being extended, just to see what that gives us. So let's take off the 2 grids this time, without changing the flash power at all. It's going to put on the snoot without it being extended, and let's see what that gives us. Okay, so you can see there that with the snoot sort of all the way in, it's actually probably giving us more spill than the two grids together. But what I'm now going to do is extend the snoot out all the way so you can see just what a difference it makes. Now there are levels to the snoot, as I mentioned before, but there's no point in us going through every single one. I just want to show you what happens when we extend the snoot out the full way. And take this shot now. Ooh, you see now the spill is really, really small. So if I can just aim this slightly better, yeah, I don't think we're going to get much better than that. So hopefully that just demonstrates very clearly and obviously just why, to the way that I work, using MagMod modifiers, in particular the grid and the snoot, is absolutely essential. Now what I just want to show you now is how we can make the light even more concentrated on the X by using two grids and the snoot together. Now in reality, especially for wedding photography, you would never ever need to be this accurate with your off-camera flash, because I can't imagine any situation where you're just trying to hit, not even a face, like you're trying to hit someone's nose or something. But again, I want to show you the effectiveness of using the modifiers to really limit the spill of the light. So we've now got two grids and a snoot, which is extended. So let's see now where we get to when we try and hit the X. Ooh, let me just do this. There you go. I don't think we're going to get much better than that. And just to again show you, if I take off everything, so we're still zoomed into 200 on the speed light. So let's just see what happens now without any modifiers at all. So there we go. I hope that demonstrates very clearly why using modifiers, in particular for me, the MagMod Snoot and my favourites, the MagMod Grid, is absolutely essential to the way that I work with off-camera flash. Because without using modifiers, it's impossible, as I've just demonstrated, to really control the light well. Because even when we zoom the speed light into 200mm, which in theory should concentrate the light, we still get the light bouncing around all over the place, and we can't be accurate, or we certainly can't be as accurate as you need to be if you want to create really effective off-camera flash photographs at weddings. So I'm now going to pass you back over to me in Studio B.
So as you can see there, it is absolutely crazy how much of a difference using modifiers makes to controlling the spill of the light. So let's just go over those photographs again. So in the first photograph, I went from using no modifier with the flash zoomed out at 24mm. I then zoomed the flash in to 200mm, but again, we've still not got a modifier on. I then added a MagGrid, which gave us this, before adding a second grid, which gave us this photograph. And then I used a MagSnoot, which wasn't extended, to this photograph where I extended the MagSnoot all the way, to finally using two grids and the snoot extended. So again, the difference that modifiers makes is absolutely crazy, but more importantly, I hope that this video has helped you to see just why it's so important that we do control the light that's coming from our speed lights, because it really does make the difference between a good off-camera flash photograph and a bad one, and it's absolutely essential if we want to make consistently good off-camera flash photography. So as always, if you have any questions about anything that I've covered in this video, then please do let me know in the comments. And if you have enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you could please leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to my channel for more videos like this in the future. So thank you very much again for watching, and I will see you next time.